Hey everybody, T-Man again, bringing you guys another fucking video. This one is going to be another part 2 of the shows that I've been to in my time here. This is just another fun video, guys. I just finished shooting my house show review video. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. I was going to do a video just talking about all the shows I've been to because if you guys didn't see it, 2 days ago I just went to a house show for WWE. Ooh, I'm out of breath. Sorry, went up the stairs a couple of times to check on my kids, but I just did a review talking about the house show I went to. Really cool show for WWE. TV product still sucks, but if you like good in-ring work, check it out. Go to that video. Not going to talk about it, but this one I'm going to talk about other shows I've been to. Just fun, you know. If you guys are wondering about some of the shows I've been to 100 house shows, some Raws, some SmackDowns, one pay-per-view. I'm gonna go all about that in this video. It's just a fun video. If you guys don't want to hear about it, then get the fuck out of here. But if you just want to hear about some of the cool wrestling stories that I have, that shows that I've gone to, then stick around. You might like this video. Anyways, man, my very first show that I ever went to, man, was in 1992, guys. I was how old was I? 6 or 7 years old, and it was a house show that my grandfather took me to, and it was still in the Hulk Hogan era. I think it was the beginning part of 1992. I forgot I forgot all the details. I do remember a lot of the matches, but I mean, like I said, I was really young at the time. I was probably about 6 years old, maybe 7. And the main event on that one was Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, man. And I remember, man, and when I was a kid, I was the biggest Hulkamaniac fan you would ever see, man. And it was a good show. I mean, as you guys know, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, they never really had a big show, a very big program. In the WWF era, they wrestled in a lot of house shows. It was supposed to be WrestleMania 8, but unbeknownst to anybody in the WWF, it never happened at WrestleMania 8. And I heard the house show that I went to, and a lot of house shows leading up to that, they did that to kind of practice the match for WrestleMania 8. Never happened. As you guys know, it was Ric Flair and the Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice at the time. So, man, it was a great match, dude. Just being there at the house show, and I don't remember the in-ring work, and I'm not gonna bullshit you guys and act like I do remember. I don't. It was just cool seeing Hulk Hogan there with Ric Flair, and as you guys know, Hulk Hogan was never really a great in-ring worker. Anyways, but I'm not gonna talk to him, but I don't remember the in-ring work with her. Man, I was 6 fucking years old, man. I just remember just seeing those guys, and man, it was a great house show. I did just, you know, when I mean it was a great house show, I'm not talking about work rate or rise. I was just talking about just the characters and the legends that I saw. And, you know, even as a kid, they're just stuck in your head. You know, just the entrances and seeing those legends in the ring are just really fun. Then it was Ultimate Warrior and Undertaker. And then I saw the Legion of Doom, the Big Boss Man, Hacksaw. You know, saw all those guys. You know, the Mountie, which he's not really a legend, but he's a character that always stuck in. Virgil, Rowdy Piper, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Mr. Perfect, I believe wrestled at that house show. Just a lot of the great names. I think Jake Roberts was no, Jake Roberts was gone. That's right. I did not see Jake Roberts. But all different kinds of great guys. The Bushwhackers. Just a lot of those guys from that era. That man, like, even though a lot of those guys didn't become big or whatever, that's the era to me when I first started watching. And I watched a lot of eras before that due to my video store. My very first video I did on the channel, I actually talked about that, about some of the wrestling that I used to watch as a kid. And man, I watched all the old NWA stuff, all the WWF, best of the WWF. It used to be a Coliseum video series back in the 80s, and in my video store, when I was a kid, they had a lot of 80s stuff, so I watched all that. But on TV, when I first started watching wrestling when I was 4 years old, that was the stuff I was watching that era with Hacksaw, Big Boss Man, Jake Roberts, $1 Million Man, Roddy Piper. So to me, that is the era that always brought a smile on my face, and I was really happy at that age that my grandfather took me to see that that event. And Then I didn't go to an event for a pretty long time after that. Then my next one was a WCW house show. They didn't do a whole lot of house shows, and it was in the LA area where I live at the Great Western Forum. Those of you who are familiar with the arenas around here. It was a WCW house show, and I remember it was advertised. And I believe that was in '99 that I went. I mean, in 1999. I still remember the date because as a kid, a teen at the time, I couldn't, a preteen, I couldn't wait for this date, and it was in August. I remember I went with my cousin. It was August 22nd, 1999. I still remember the date. I don't remember the whole card, but I remember the date, man, because at the time I was a huge WCW fan, and it was kind of like the last, hurrah for WCW before it really got bad. And I remember the house show was advertised to be Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, dig it. So disappointed, man. Macho Man never made it to that show. But I'll tell you, the consolation main event was probably better than the original scheduled main event with Macho Man and Hogan. It was Hulk Hogan, and at the time, he wasn't Hollywood anymore. He was back in the red and yellow. The NWO angles kind of already came to a close. And it was Hulk Hogan versus Bret the Hitman Hart, man. Good match, even for a house show. I actually remember. I remember telling myself and my cousin and my grandfather who took me, wow, what a great match with Bret Hart. I mean, as you guys know, Hulk Hogan's really not a great technician. And like I said, those of you who just think, I said this in my last video talking about my house show in Vegas, just because a match is not... just because it's not a pay-per-view or a televised show doesn't mean that the house shows are not good. Sometimes, even wrestlers have said that. Chris Jericho said this many times. He feels like he's had some of his best matches in his career at a house show. Just because the camera's not rolling, dude. These guys are entertainers, and they're performers, and they're performing in front of a crowd. And sometimes, man, you just have that chemistry, and it'll roll good over there. But anyway, some of the other matches I saw in the WCW was, at that one was, I think it was originally was Sting and Sid Vicious. That's right. Some matches I know exactly what they were, and some I forgot. But it was Sting and Sid Vicious. It was 1-on-1. Then it turned into a tag match. It was Sting and Goldberg versus Sid Vicious and Rick Steiner. Because those of you who remember Rick Steiner and Sid Vicious at the time was a team. I know Kevin Nash was there at that one. Buff Bagwell and some of the other WCW guys at that time. It was I know I saw Benoit and a couple other guys. Then after that, like 99, 2001, 2. Then a few years later, now WCW era is over. Now I'm in high school, and my next event that I went to was a house show. Again, a lot of my shows that I went to at especially the beginning part of my life, in my early life here, was house shows. And this one was in 2002, and what a great house show again. This time it was just me and my grandfather again. WWE in Anaheim, and the main event was Triple H in a steel cage match against Chris Jericho. How about them apples? Great card. I remember the card, and co-main event was Hulk Hogan and Kurt Angle. Hogan and Angle was the match that I saw. Chuck Palumbo and Billy Gunn was that gay tag team, I have nothing against gays, so please don't take that wrong. I'm just saying gay because that's kind of what it came off of, like they were the boy band gay thing. They were there. I forgot a whole lot of matches on that card. That card doesn't stick out, but the Hogan... Kurt Angle stuck out to me, and Triple H and Jericho in the steel cage really stuck out to me too. Edge was on the show, Benoit was on the show. A lot of those guys were on the show in 2001. Very cool. Fast forwarding in a couple years ago, I finally make it to my first Monday Night Raw, guys. Finally made it to my first Monday Night Raw, and you know what the funny thing about it is? I don't remember it, dude. I don't remember. I know I went to Monday Night Raw, I don't remember it. And then then the next Monday Night Raw, I do remember. I went to, I believe, like 3 Monday Night Raws. So I'm sorry, that first one you would think I would remember. I remember leading up to it. I'm so excited. And looking back at it now, I can't even remember one fucking match on that card. Isn't that a fucking ball of monkeys, dude? Fucking seriously. Anyways, then the next match, the next Monday Night Raw I went to, I remember it was in 2004, the year I graduated high school. So you guys kind of get an idea of how old I am here. I'm an old wrestling fan at heart. I'm about to be 29, but like I said, I've been watching wrestling since I was 4, and I watched everything from the 70s and 80s due to my video store. So those of you saying, now how does he remember things this old? Because I've been a fan that long, so shut the fuck up. Anyways, the next one was in 2004 that I went to, and you guys probably remember this. This was a week. No, I think this was right after SummerSlam 1994. This was a week after SummerSlam. This was a week after SummerSlam 2004. And if you guys remember, Randy Orton just won the World Heavyweight title from Triple H. He just won the world title from Triple H, and I went to Monday Night Raw. I didn't pay for a ticket. A friend of mine had a ticket, and he invited me along, and it was pretty funny. He had a girlfriend at the time. They broke up. In a funny story is I ended up screwing his girlfriend. Bad friend of mine, but I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, so we saw that one, and that was a Monday Night Raw. Those of you who are familiar with history, that was a woman when Triple H, he came out, he was very mad because at the time it was Evolution. So Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair were out there, and they wanted Randy Orton to surrender the title to Triple H, because at the time Randy Orton was still in Evolution, and this was the defining moment where Randy Orton broke away from Evolution. The week prior, the night after SummerSlam, the week prior to that Monday Night Raw that I went to, was when Orton was celebrating up high, Batista put him up, and was the epic where Batista got his gimmick, thumbs up, thumbs down, and Triple H was doing the thumbs up, went the thumbs down, Batista dunked him, started putting the beat down on Randy Orton. Very next week, Triple H says, you know what, we'll forget all about that. Forget that beat down. Now you know, only person that can be champion is me. Hand over the belt to me, bitch. Didn't say bitch, but it just sounded cool saying it. Anyways, Orton went, started handing him the belt, spits in Triple H's eye, runs up in the crowd, and I remember he ran right past me. There was 3 other people beside me, so those 3 people were right next to him. Ran right up those ropes into there, celebrating with the title, and of course, a couple weeks later, he lost the title. I believe that pay-per-view was Unforgiven 2004, and you could watch it on the WWE Network for $9.99. Had to plug that in because it's just so ridiculous how they made it a gimmick. Anyways, and I believe on that one, it could have been that Monday Night Raw or another Monday Night Raw, because some Monday Night Raws are more you would think they would stand out in my mind more, considering that they're on TV. But like I said, some of the house shows stand out in my mind more than some of the Monday Night Raws that I went to. It was either that Raw or the next Raw, the Epic Wedding. It could have been a different Raw between Kane and Lita. I was at that Raw. If you guys remember that Raw wedding, when Kane was marrying Lita because of a match stipulation that he beat Matt Hardy. He gets to marry Lita, and then they got married, and I remember Matt Hardy was going to make the epic save and a big fire, and that was hot. And I remember I had bad seats. I didn't have good seats at the time. I was probably up in the nosebleeds or the middle section, middle of the rafters or middle of the midsection or whatever. And I remember we felt that fire because it was a big wall of fire. If you guys remember that Raw, that wedding when Matt Hardy came out, big fire, you know, over there. And so yeah, that kind of sticks out in my mind too. Went to another Raw that I forgot about, and then I went to a bunch of house shows in Hawaii. I moved to Hawaii in 2006. And in Hawaii, you don't get. I lived in Hawaii for almost 4 years, and you don't get Monday Night Raws or SmackDowns and stuff in Hawaii, but you do get house shows, and they go to they do house shows once a year in Hawaii. I don't know if they changed that. I'm sorry, doing 2 times a year, but at the time they only did 1 time a year, and yeah, I saw some really cool. And here's a good thing about Hawaii, man. I'll tell you a little story. And a friend of mine that's also subscribed to my channel probably remembers this too. 2 of my friends that was in Hawaii with me are subscribed to my channel. I'm sure one of my friends are going to remember this that I actually went to the show with. After the show, I'm not going to talk about the match, run down the match cards of the Hawaii shows I went to, but both Hawaii shows that we went to, they were all bus, because as you know, most wrestlers, they take cars and they travel the show, they take airplanes or whatever. Over here, how it worked in Hawaii was they flew on the airlines, and all the wrestlers stayed at one hotel. Okay, and so what we did was, I remember me and my friend, we were trying to meet the wrestlers after the show, and we saw them all getting on this bus, and they weren't really taking too many pictures. I got one picture with Umaga, who's now passed away. I got a picture with him, and then we saw these guys going into the bus, and then I remember I look over at my friend, and he looks over at me, and we look at each other, and we're like, dude, let's fucking follow the bus. Let's follow the bus of this wrestler, and let's see where they're gonna go. So we jump inside the car. We run over to our car. We parked maybe a couple blocks away. They were still waiting for some wrestlers that went on last, and meanwhile the wrestlers were just drinking beer on the bus. So me and my friend, we hightail it over to the car, follow the bus of wrestlers. There's 2 buses, and a friend of mine really wanted to meet Shawn Michaels. That's the whole reason why he was doing it, and he never did meet Shawn Michaels, because I think Shawn and Triple H and Ric Flair, that was also there, I think they hightailed it to the airport, so we didn't meet them at all. And this was on 2 different occasions, so I'm going to kind of mix both stories. So both times we're at 2 different hotels in Hawaii. We chased the bus, and I ran out. He had to park the car. I got a picture with Randy Orton, met Randy Orton, got an autograph for him, met Mr. Kennedy, now known as Mr. Anderson, and TNA, and it was cool. Mr. Anderson was a really cool guy. We got to shoot the shit with him. He actually was sitting down in the hotel lobby, and me and my friend, we actually sat down and we talked to him for a few minutes. Cool guy, you know. He just got finished with the match, and you know what? I knew right there in that conversation, I knew right there that he was going to last in WWE, because I remember he was telling us that, you know, he just got married and the road schedule's hell. He hated traveling on the road. So I'm like, wow, this guy's probably not going to last this long if he's already tired of the road trips and all this, you know. He's still kind of a new guy in WWE. And fast forward a couple years later, Mr. Kennedy is now Mr. Anderson, and you talk about a waste of talent with that guy. I think this guy could have been a lot more bigger in wrestling than he actually became. I understand he had an okay run in TNA here and there. His WWE plan, man, if those of you who don't know, there was on 2 separate occasions for sure that he was planned on being a world champion, because he even wanted Money in the Bank, and his injuries is what really costed him. The guy got injured a lot, so he was the whole reason why he didn't get a whole lot of stars. And I forgot who we saw a lot of times. We met William Regal in the elevator. Didn't really get a picture with him, but the next time, I don't remember who we saw that time. I remember the next time we saw a lot of guys. We got pictures of Ricky Steamboat, Tommy Dreamer, Christian. We got a picture with Chris Jericho. Man, unfortunately, I lost the camera. Got a picture with Rey Mysterio. Got a picture with the Great Khali. Got a picture with a lot of guys. I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot of guys too. We got pictures with a lot of guys. A really cool experience, man. It really was. And then so I probably went to house show about 3 times in Hawaii. 2 times we followed the bus, so it was really fun. cool memories looking back on it. I come back now, and it's so funny, you know, me going to wrestling at different stages of my life. Wrestling's always been a constant for me. My life's changed so much, as sure as many of you guys do. And if you guys are lifetime wrestling fans like me, man, when you go to all these events, you kind of remember what your life was at that time. Then I come back to Hawaii, and back to California from Hawaii, and then I finally make it to my first pay-per-view, guys. It was SummerSlam 2010. And that was my next event that I went to, a pay-per-view. I was so happy, and you know, I remember I wanted to take my grandfather, who's always took me to wrestling events. I wanted to take him over to see SummerSlam, and I bought 2 tickets, and he didn't go. I ended up taking my cousin because he was sick and he couldn't make it. But I took my cousin, and the day before that, you know, they had the fan access, so that was real fun. And it was so funny, man. It's deceiving. Those of you who are in the LA area and been to the fan access as many times, I didn't go to the one the year prior in 2009 because I was in Hawaii. 2010, I went to the fan access, and I had no idea I was outside. The ticket for fan access said in the convention center. So convention center, you're thinking inside, and this is August. So I go over to this event, and it is hot, man. It's hotter than a bitch. It's 100 degrees, okay? It's 100 degrees outside, and maybe 90, but probably 100. August, in my opinion, is one of the... August and September, man, fuck. That's the hottest part of summer, in my opinion. It's not July. A lot of people think it's July. It's August and September. Anyways, I'm outside all day. I bought all 3 tickets because they had 3 different sessions of fan access. I went to all 3 sessions. So I was there from like 9 in the morning till about 6, 7 at night. And all day outside, was not in the convention center, had no sunscreen, no nothing. I got the most sunburn I ever had in my life. I am a white motherfucker. And I got red. And man, I remember, man, it was cool though. I got a picture with, at the time it was the Hart Dynasty, Tyson Kidd and Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Natalia, and at the time they were the tag team champions, and it's cool they put both titles on you. And at the time is when they had the 4 titles, where they merged the SmackDown titles with the Raw titles, those of you who remember that era. So they put all the titles on my shoulder. I thought that was really cool. Got to see The Miz. At the time, he was the United States champion and the Money in the Bank briefcase winner. Got a photo shoot with him when with a nice little poster in the background. He asked which item he wanted to hold, the briefcase or the belt. I'm like, fuck, I want to hold the belt. Held the United States title. It was really cool. Got to see some legends too. Met Rowdy Piper for the first time. I met him a couple times after that. Met Rowdy Piper. Met Sergeant Slaughter. Met MVP. Met Goldust at that event. He was all geared up too. I believe I met Kane. I met Dolph Ziggler. I met some other ones. I met Alicia Fox. She was still around. She was there all the way back in 2010. So I met her. Met a lot of other guys. I can't remember everybody I met, but those are some of the guys I've met too. Oh yeah, I met Hulk Hogan in Hawaii too. Talk about, you know me, my mind goes all over the place. Went there. Fast forward a few years, haven't been to a wrestling event in a long time. After that one, then just recently, 6 months ago or so, now I'm married. Now, fast forward a few more years, now I'm married, and me and my wife went to a SmackDown. My first SmackDown show I went to, it was really cool. I'm not going to get into the match there, didn't see any wrestlers after, but it was really cool. And now leading up to my last one I went to in Hawaii. So man, I did this video, I just wanted to be some real cool wrestling stories, some fun events that I went to. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, got a little taste of who I am personally. So now you guys know I'm not all about the rants. I have a soft side to me. Some of the storylines, I included some storylines that I remember, and hopefully you guys remember some of those time periods. I'm sure I'm probably leaving out a couple shows that I went to, but those are like some of the highlight ones that meant a lot to me that I went to. And who knows, I'm still a young guy. I'm about to turn 28 next week. 29, man. Sometimes I forget how old I am. I'm gonna be 29, so I'm still a young buck, and I have a lot of wrestling shows left in me that I'm sure I'm going to go to in my life, and I can't wait for those. So hopefully you enjoyed this video about a little personal video about me. Until the next one, I will see you for the next video, guys. Take care.